Hey everybody, it's Chris Harrison here with another episode of the Main Points with Main Place. Today we have Aaron Moma. He is the owner of the River Coffee Company here in Decatur. So Aaron, welcome.
Thanks, Chris. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. We really appreciate it. You've got a coffee company here right in downtown Decatur that, quite honestly, you started in a very different location and had a lot of different things going on. So help our viewers here kind of understand the journey you've been on.
Yeah, so it's been quite the journey. In 2017, actually, we started the build out. Friend of mine by the name of Jesse Blunt came up to me and asked me to put a coffee shop in a building that they were buying. It was over on Water Street. It was a Rupert Sporting Goods store. So if anybody has some memories of that store.
So that's North Water Street,
North
just
Water.
North of El Dorado,
Correct.
And north of the Avon Theater.
Correct. Yep.
Okay.
And so we moved into the old Rupert Sporting Goods store, and there was a tattoo parlor, a coffee shop, some records, and also some oddities sold there, as well as some antique furniture. And I mean, it was just kind of a collective, a business collective. And but yeah, we started there. It took quite a few months to do the build out, but we put a lot of blood, sweat, and tears into it. A lot of man hours and prayers going into it as well. But we eventually opened in March of 2018.
Okay.
We were open for about a year and a month, and at 2 a.m. on April 1st, 2019, we got a phone call from our landlord saying our building was on fire, and we lost everything. And so sent my wife and I to, I guess, figure out what we were doing and to pray about it and see if that's what we were supposed to do, was to start another shop. And sure enough, we got a lot of peace that we were just supposed to start searching, I guess, and find another location.
So I want to spend a little bit more time on that location.
Yep.
And kind of what happened there, because really nobody had ever opened something like that north of El Dorado.
Yeah.
I mean, you kind of stretched the boundaries of what downtown was. So I guess, why was that location chosen? And I guess what was so special about it? Because it was special. I mean, I had only been there a few times because you were only open a short amount of time. But what was so unique about it?
Well, I think what was unique about it was just there was just an eclectic amount of people that were involved, and with personalities come, their friends and other people that kind of, start to rub elbows, that their circles didn't necessarily cross up until that point. And I think when you start to bring people together like that, communities start to be built, and boundaries start to be pushed a little bit.
Sure.
And I can talk to my wife and I on what we were trying to build, and I think it kind of fit within the mold of the collective that was the business collective that was there. But we were trying to build a community as well as the greater community there too. And we just chose coffee to be that avenue to build community. And so, if that's your heart and if that's your passion and if that's what you're striving to do, everything that you do kind of exudes that. And
right.
So when we started the coffee shop, there was no seats that were by themselves. Everything was grouped in either 2 or 4. And if it was by itself, it was in front of me, or in front of the people at the bar. And that was just really to encourage community, to encourage togetherness, to encourage making friends, making friendships, and meeting new people even. And me coming from my past, where I struggled with alcohol and drinking, and living in a sober life, you kind of look for those outlets again. What is there to do if you're not going to a bar at night? And so that my coffee shop or my wife and I's coffee shop, we were trying to bridge that gap, offering something else to do that was community driven, offering something to do where people can go and meet a stranger and have a drink and a beverage around. And
right.
So that was kind of the mentality and the goal. But and
I know that's still part of what you do, and we're going to go there, but hit more on the fire, because there was more than just a couple businesses. Wasn't there an art fair that night?
Yeah, there was an art exhibit. Maybe not that night, but I think the night before. Yeah, there was that went on the night before. We had opened the night or the next day. And I actually had a wedding to go to, and so that was the first day that I took an afternoon off. And so it was my cousin's wedding, and we left. My wife and I left at 2 p.m. and left the shop in great hands. And my manager, who's still working with us today, was the manager who was closing that night. We always joke, don't burn it down if I leave.
Don't burn the place down. Takes on a new meaning.
Yeah, right. So I had left and went to the wedding. My wife and I came back. We always would. So it was Sunday at that time. We'd always go to the shop on Sunday mornings, and we'd make ourselves a cup of coffee and then go to church afterwards. And we came and sat down and we had a cup of coffee, and that was the last time we stepped foot in our business. Wow. And it was absolutely devastating. When you if anybody has gone through a fire, you kind of it hits you really hard at first, but it's one of those lingering effects too, because then you realize like over time what you've lost. And so like, material things are all replaceable, but like it was the next winter where we were finally moved into our new shop, and I was like, where are my snow boots? Well, we had a late snow, and I left my snow boots at the shop, and they burnt up.
Gone.
And so it's just those little things, like it's just those memories that start to pop up as you're, dealing with that. But after the shop had burnt down, we spent about 8 months looking for a new location. And our initial thought was buy a property. And after door closed after door closed after door closed, it just wasn't either the right place or a little too much money outside of our budget, in which our budget was small. So we kind of came to you guys and redirected us to a location that the timing was perfect.
Sure.
It was just literally, we burnt down, we spent all this time looking, we shifted ideas. One of the businesses moved out and opened up the doors for us to move in. And I guess the rest is history, and now we're moving on into the new. So.
Absolutely. Yes. Yeah. So your new location, and that's where I really got to know you. Yeah. I had known the location before, and I've been there a couple times, but obviously being across the street, I could see you from my window where we were.
Yeah.
And I went in a couple times, and some of the drinks you had, and then you mentioned sobriety here, and that's something I've dealt with too. And the way your drinks are made, your seasonal drinks are in the sense of a cocktail, sure. and that you can share that cocktail with people. And as I quit drinking, that was the hardest thing, was having something in my hand.
Yeah.
And the stand around and take a sip type. So that's really interesting that you took that and you're bringing that as an alternative. To people.
Yeah, and that's when you're in the coffee industry, you start to pick up. I guess influences from other industries as well. And, coming from any type of like bar industry or bar fly industry, you start to, you're like, oh man, that was kind of cool. Maybe I can incorporate that into what I do or what we're doing. And, when you start to get into the coffee industry too, you'll start to notice there's more people doing this too, outside of Central Illinois or outside of Decatur, or outside of even our coffee shop. And that's, there's a greater, I think, need for alternatives out there, and I think people are starting to pick up on that nuance too. There's a big culture of sobriety living.
Absolutely.
And our what do we have to offer for that? If everywhere you go, it's, hey, come drink with us, or it's
or
either drink.
Tea.
Yep. And so it's what do we have to offer that gives you that that choice, I guess. So that's it's really been a fun thing too, is to endeavor into that, and it's always a really fun experience when you get to sit across from somebody who's trying a drink for the first time that they didn't realize could be a possibility, and so they're going, "What, tonic water with espresso?
The espresso tonic
this is
was
crazy."
yes.
Or like one of the mocktails that we made, it used a milk wash, and we were. We were crashing proteins out of milk and using the clear liquid that comes out of it as our base for our espresso. And like these things are done in the bar industry, but bringing that into a coffee industry and then seeing people drink it and go, "Oh man, this is interesting. I've never known this was a thing, or this could even be a possibility, or that coffee could even be something else as an ingredient in another type of beverage." And because everybody's used to, we stay with espresso, we stay with lattes, we stay with coffee. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
Give me my black coffee. Well, let's broaden the horizon a little bit. Let's get outside of the comfort zone.
Yeah. And even down to taking the orange peel and rimming the glass with the orange peel.
It's just the little details that go a little bit further too. And two, I think that also stems into just like our desire for people. Like communities aren't built by not taking time out. Take time out, pause, sit down, relax. Like, let us make you a drink, take enough time for you to enjoy it, and then see what conversations build from there. Like, people watch a little bit. Like, that's okay. Or like go sit by somebody new that you don't know and strike up a conversation. I think sometimes our world is so introverted or so individualized that we're so concerned about us and what we have to do and get from point A to point B and hustle bustle, and like that there's a whole swath of people out there that just need they want community.
Yeah.
Yep.
And you do have tables in there to be able to have a meeting, 2 or 3 people, but you do have a community table right down the middle to where if a large group came, you could do that. And there's times I'll go over and I'll sit down at the end and there's somebody else in the middle. And so I think another interesting thing, and I've always told this story, is when I first got to know you and we were in the office downtown here also, I'm a guy that's in the hurry and I don't take time. And I said, "Aaron, can you just have a carafe where I can come in and grab a quick cup and run out, and your response, and it was very thoughtful, and you took your time, and I'm like, I want something fast and quick, and I just need to run. And you took your time and you said, "No, I'm not doing that."
Yeah.
And you even said, "I just want people to slow down a little bit."
Yeah.
And I really took that to, man, he's passionate about his business. He understands what drives him and how he can connect to the community. I also took it to myself to say, I need to slow down a little bit. As we started here, I said I haven't been there enough lately, but that's important.
Yeah, it is important. And, we as a business, like, we understand that not everybody wants to slow down or wants to come to our shop to slow down. But we also realize that there's other businesses out in Decatur that cater to the fast pace. And like, if you need to go there, go there. We love that. Like, we're not trying to be a coffee shop for everybody, though we want everybody to come and be a part of our coffee shop. We want people to enjoy what we have to offer. And we're probably not going to cater to to somebody coming in, give me my drink. Now, granted, we'll do our best to go as quickly as we can.
Yes.
But if you have to wait 5 minutes, you have to wait 5 minutes.
Right.
That's okay for us. So
and that said, even your specialty drinks can be made to go. The espresso tonic, we had a summer we were addicted to them. We're just as wonderful on a to-go basis too. So.
Yeah, definitely. You can definitely take anything to go.
Yeah.
We're not
because that is the world. I mean,
correct. Yeah. But we want to encourage as best we can for.
So what about, I know you roast some of your own beans and you're able to just buy bags of beans for,
Absolutely.
yeah. So tell me about kind of what that is and what your options are.
Yeah, so we're considered a seasonal coffee roastery. So we roast what's in season. So you may not have the same thing on our shelves every single time you come in. So you may find a coffee that you really love and may not be able to get it 4 months later, and that's because. If you look in our own fields here growing in Illinois, we know that corn doesn't grow all the time.
Right.
Same thing goes for coffee. Coffee does not grow all the time. Now, if you look at the world, it does grow at all times, but regionally it grows differently. So you may find an Ethiopian in one season, and out of season, you may not see that. You may see a Guatemalan take the shelf, or a Colombia, or we have a Burundi right now. So all of our coffees come from those areas of the world, and a lot of times people come in and they say we want a dark roast. So not only are we seasonal, we roast according to flavor profile, not necessarily dark profile or color profile. So we have our roaster Brent. He's phenomenal. Does a great job of profiling our coffee to how we think it tastes best. And it may not taste best to somebody else, but we feel like it's the best thing that we're producing. And so once again, we know we live we work in an industry that is preference driven. And so if our preference, that what we're producing is not your preference, that's okay. Mm-hmm. But we want to say, try our preference. Mm-hmm. It might be better.
Yeah.
So it might be.
That's great.
So.
Well, and what I would say to the viewers too is, I mean, you really have that community feel. Mm-hmm. You mentioned you and your wife Abby run the operation, and she's in there quite a bit, and the familiar faces in there, and it's just a very comfortable and calming place to be. Music's going, that you got great natural light, the sunshine's coming in, it just. I would say it is an experience just walking into your coffee company.
Well, thank you. That's what we were going for.
Yes. So definitely an addition to downtown having you. Talk to me a little bit about why you wanted to be downtown. Because I'm sure as soon as that happened, people are like, you can go to South Shores, you can go to Pershing, come out to Mount Zion. I mean, why downtown?
Downtown's the heart of the city. You can look elsewhere, but where everybody kind of comes downtown. It was always, to begin with, the heart of the city. And I think historically, this corner that we're at right here was the transfer house. That's where the original transfer house was. And it was the heartbeat. It was the hustle bustle. It was where the bus stations, everybody was coming around this place. And they were getting on new buses, getting on, taxis were coming through there, cars were coming through, horse and buggies were driving through there. And this is the heartbeat. And what better way to build community, or where better to build community than the heart of the city? And so, whenever we first started, which was over on Water Street, we were told we were going to fail. 100% we were going to fail because we didn't have a drive-through. And we go, well, we don't really want to drive through. Right. So, and the same thing, we moved to this shop and they're like, why aren't you getting a drive through? You're going to have way more traffic. And I'm like, we don't want to drive through. We want it to be a place where people come. And sure enough, I think that Decatur is doing a really great job pulling people into the heart of the city, pulling businesses into the downtown, revitalizing the downtown, doing makeovers, doing, renovations, the streets, the sidewalks. I mean, everything, the lamps are all looking great. Everything is really the city's doing a really great job trying its best to make downtown a destination. Yep. And that's what we want it to be. We want it to be a destination location. My wife and I, when we would go out to look at coffee shops or go try coffee shops, we would find the ones that we had to drive off the beaten path to get to, or that they were you knew that there were places you had to go and drive to or park at. And this is what we want it to be. We want it to be a destination spot that added a reason for people to come downtown, a draw.
Right.
So.
Yep. Well, you have definitely done it.
Well, thank you.
You and Abby are definitely committed and dedicated to the business. So on behalf of another downtown business, we appreciate what you've done. You're a great product to have downtown. You're a great location to have, if it's an afternoon meeting or if I just want to be alone sometimes, you can just go in there with a notepad and just stare at a blank notepad and do what you need. So
that's awesome.
It's definitely great to have you here. So, and I really want to thank you for coming on with us today.
Absolutely.
And,
this was fun.
Look forward to having you back in the future too.
Right.
So,
thanks, Chris.
All right. Thank you. So that was another episode of the Main Points with Main Place. To check out past or future Main Points, find us at YouTube, Spotify, or Apple Podcasts.